All right, and we are going. Once again, my name is Alex Clarkson, Director of Secondary Teaching and Learning, and here tonight we are talking about the ACE programs that are housed at Southview High School. Now, once again, I want to reiterate that housed at Southview High School does not mean only available for Southview students. Our career tech programs throughout the district offer opportunities for both Southview and Northview students regardless of where they are housed. There are times when these teachers will be talking about feeder classes, and that means freshman and sophomore classes that might only exist for Southview students. However, they're two-year programs. Really the core of what they do is available for both Southview and Northview students. We provide transportation between the two schools, and students can keep a full schedule at their home school and still have the rest of that schedule completed at Southview, even if they're a Northview student. Okay, so let's talk about what we mean by ACE. Our acronym ACE refers to Agriculture, Construction, and Engineering, as represented by the gentlemen here and their programs. All three of these programs will focus on STEM in some way or other, talking about the acquisition and the application of STEM skills. And I really want to emphasize that application. In that third bullet here, we'll see that students will learn and apply skills. So we're not simply talking about rote learning in a hypothetical sense by sitting in a desk. We're talking about learning concepts of mathematics. We're talking about learning concepts of environmental science. We're talking about learning concepts of physics. But we're talking about applying those concepts in a real sense. And that means through building, problem solution, critical examination, project development, and the time that is taken in these two-year programs gives plenty of time for students to work on some pretty in-depth and detailed projects. So it's all about STEM, but it's about applied problem-solving skills in STEM. So the ACE programs are developed to accomplish a few goals. We want to increase not only the academic skills of students, but also their career options. Ultimately, the goal of career tech is not necessarily to funnel a student out of high school and into a job, or out of high school and into college. It's to give them opportunities for any of those, and no matter which of those paths they choose, they'll be better prepared than their peers. So if a kid wants to get right out of high school and go into the workforce, our career tech programs can help make that happen. If a kid wants to graduate from high school and go right into college, then our career tech programs will give them a base of applied learning that will lead them to being heads above their peers going into college for the first time. So it'll give them a base of experience that will make the college experience richer. We want these hands-on learning experiences, and we want the student to be able to make a connection between what's going on in the classroom, hypothetically, abstractly, and what goes on in the real world. That's the goal of our programs, and these three gentlemen do an excellent job of applying that approach and that vision in three different areas. So that being said, I think it's time to hear about the first, which is John Austin here, working with engineering and fabrication technology. So I'm going to turn things over to John, and he can introduce his program. And once he's finished talking about it, he will be happy to answer questions. Don't forget, feel free to throw questions in the chat during the discussion as you'd like.
How's everybody? Thanks, Alex. I'm John Austin. I teach the Engineering Fabrication Technology program. And those pictures are because Mr. Smith said I should put pictures in my slideshow to make myself more personable to people. So next slide there, Mr. Smith. Thank you. So in our class, we use a lot of different tools. You'll see we'll use woodworking tools. And next slide, Mr. Smith. We also use metalworking tools, the welders, the bandsaws. And then we have a robotics class for the ninth graders that can take. Anyone 9th through 12th can take the class. That class actually, if a student scores C or higher and passes the state exam called the web exam, they can get a 3-credit C tag for college. And that applies directly to state universities and state colleges. Thanks, Mr. Smith. And there we do a lot of measurements, different types of tools for measuring, Mr. Smith. And this is projects from the Woods and Metals Technology class that we've done. This is another option for 9th graders. I'm not sure exactly what level we're at in here, so I put everything in. So, and then this is in Woods and Metals project. This is the welding project they did last year. Hopefully we'll get to it this year. And the engineering class is available to ninth graders. Semester courses are engineering applications, engineering design, alternative energy. Year-long courses are woods and metals technology and robotics. All right, so the program itself, engineering and fabrication technology, when we talk about the junior year, the courses are given, those names are given by the state. So manufacturing operations and welding fabrication will be the courses for the junior year. The industry credential students will work on during junior year are the NCCR core curriculum and OSHA 10. Senior year will be industrial maintenance and welding technology and NCCR electrical level 1, and then JSI. JSI is job shadowing internship. It's not unique to my program. It's done throughout all career tech programs, but during second semester, students go out either on a job shadow or on an internship, depending on how it works out for them. Sometimes we have students who are athletes during the spring, so pulling a full internship doesn't work for them. So a job shadow works. All right. So after completion of the program, things that students can do after high school, they can go into a certificate program, small shielded metal arc welding, that's stick welding, building maintenance, tool and die, electrical, you just get a certificate. Most of those take 1 or 2 semesters like at Owens. Or you can go to a trade school apprenticeship to be a machinist, an electronic systems tech, industrial instrumentation tech, or an electrician. Those range anywhere, depending on what you go. If you go to trade school, you could do the schooling in 10 months, but you still have to pick up the 8,000 work hours. So most of those take around 4 to 5 years to complete. And then the 2-year degrees and the 4-year degrees. I do have quite a few graduates who've moved into electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, UT, OSU, and University of Cincinnati. And these are some of the things we go over in class. This is more of a, this is when we're in the electrical and working through that. And this is real heavy physics side, Mr. Smith. And on the left-hand side, there's a couple of my students who we had some old tailgates in here for pickup trucks, and they're welding a bench together out of it. They came up with the project, they came up with the plan, and they've been working on it. This is their second year working on it. In the middle is where one of the labs we set up so students learn how to pull and terminate wire. On the right-hand side there, that's an electrical panel that was donated to us, and students learn how to put in breakers and wire electrical breakers. And this is a junior level welding project where the students start learning how to use a wire feed welder, and they make roses. They make 2. One stays with me and one goes home. And that does it for me. Any questions?
So, Mr. Austin, I know you mentioned it briefly, but do you think you could revisit the C-Tag for a moment? So what would a student get out of a C-Tag if they were to complete, for instance, the robotics course?
So C-Tag is the College Transfer Assurance Guidance, I believe is what the G stands for now. That is, you get an equivalent of robotics gives 3 credits in DC electronics. So a student, if they're going into the next level, if they're choosing to go to Owens or to UT or somewhere along those, another university, that's the state university in Ohio, they could take 3 credits with them out of that. And that should get them out of something. It depends on what program they're in. It'll either show up as elective credits or it'll allow them to bypass the first level. If they are doing electrical engineering, it lets them bypass the first level of electronics class they have to take.
Okay. So no money, just free credits from taking the class at Southview. Right. So talk to me also, I love that that grid that you gave. So let's say I wanted to involve myself in an apprenticeship program after high school. Taking your program for 2 years, how's that going to put me ahead of other people entering an apprenticeship program?
It depends on what apprenticeship program a student goes into. Now, if they follow up and they continue through NCCER, they'll have completed the first year of that apprenticeship, the electrical apprenticeship. So bookwork wise, they should be able to they will be able to opt out of the first year and move right into the second year of the apprenticeship. They won't have the working hours because we just can't do it at the high school level, but they would have to pick that up as they go. And it's typically 2,000 working hours a year is what is required during an apprenticeship, so 8,000 in total. So they'll be a little bit behind on the curve on the apprenticeship hours through the NCCR, but the on the job hours, but they can pick that up. Now, if they're going to go into the IBEW or into go to Jeep and go into one of their apprenticeships, that would not count on their apprenticeships. However, by having the certificates that they'll have by coming out of the course, that gives them that next step up because they've already done basic conduit bending, basic circuitry, things that other people just haven't really touched.
Fantastic. So let's say that I'm heading toward college and I'm not going to go into an apprenticeship program. Let's say I want to do something, an engineering major, for instance, in college. Don't know what, electrical engineering, what have you. So what experience are they going to get out of your program that is going to put them ahead if they go into, let's say, a 4-year institution?
Yes. Well, what we cover in the course is we cover effectively what a student will take in their first year of basically electrical engineering, because they're going to learn Ohm's law, power formula, Kirchhoff's law, Thevenin's theorem. That's things they're going to learn in the course. So when they go in and they take the courses that they have to take, they're going to be a step ahead. I have quite a few former students who tell me that when they go and they take their first electrical course they have to take, it works out very well for them because they really don't have to study for the first part of the semester.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Austin. Does anyone else have a question for Mr. Austin before I turn things over to Mr. Roach? I will say, by the way, I was always jealous when I was working at Southview of everybody that had a rose on their desk. And not that I'm bitter or anything, but I never had one. However, that's some gorgeous welding work that your students do.
Yeah, they do a good job.
All right, let's move over to Mr. Roach and construction trades. Take it away, Rick.
Sure. Austin had a question that just popped up as far as feeder classes.
Yeah, I see it. So Carson's asking which courses would be the specific feeder courses. So Mr. Austin, would you like to, I know you had a slide talking about that, but did you want to describe those courses for Carson?
Sure. It depends on what you're interested in doing. The robotics course is a great course to get into, and you can jump right into that freshman year and you can do probably quite well. Woods and metals technology and robotics is technical. It has a lot of good programming that's been brought into it. You actually build a small robot and you make it move around. You do programming. Mr. Jumps pushed that to the next level. Woods and metals technology, you come in and we go through basic tool safety, the tools, and we build things. So most of that course is set up on, we talk about it, we go build it. We talk about it, we go build it. Then the other courses, like engineering applications, is a very good course. It's a semester course. Sometimes it's easier to fit a semester course into your schedule than it is to fit a year long. So engineering applications, Mr. Jump teaches those courses that course as well. And in that course, you go through a slimmer version of what we do in woods and metals because it's semester long, so it doesn't go into the metal side. Because in the metals course, we end up welding at the end of the year. And then there's engineering design, and that's where you learn how to do geometric dimension and tolerancing. That means you learn how to draw and you make things to scale, and you figure out what size they're supposed to be when you're producing. Alternative energy is an enjoyable class. It goes into the basics of photovoltaics, solar panels, and wind turbines and biomass, and the different ways of producing energy other than using fossil fuels. I think I forgot to put CAD on that list. And then CAD is computer-aided design, and that's where you go in and run some software in the classroom, design different projects. Mr. Jump teaches that. I don't teach that one, and he's very good with the design side. And then students go out and build a project based on what they've designed.
Fantastic. Thanks for the question, Carson. So Carson and every other student, basically you could be taking engineering courses for 4 years and a variety of different engineering courses and getting a lot of different experiences from CAD to robotics to the tolerance stuff, the photovoltaics that Mr. Austin's talking about. So thanks, John. Rick, I'll turn it over to you again.
Sure. Thank you. And yes. So construction trades are the classes with me. It is just at the junior, senior level that I'm teaching, but many of those feeder classes do apply. AutoCAD obviously is something hugely used in construction. Woods and metals, of course, are there as well. Some of the smaller projects that we do and deal with, be it a cutting board, projects that we sell to raise money for extra shirts, and those kind of things. Traditionally, we have a December art fair, which has been postponed until the spring this year, everything permitting. But you can see a few of the projects. The lettering, some of upside down, but still, you can see we do work with the CNC machine, so you're getting exposure to a machine that is used in manufacturing, but it's also used by cabinet makers, countertop people that are going to cut out your marble or any other type of material. So we're getting exposure with those types of machines. And then, of course, the details that go on those small projects are things that you would learn for your finished carpentry. Next slide, please. So for the junior year, we have our core construction. It's a class for just the first semester, really focusing on the safety and proper use of our equipment. OSHA 10 is a huge responsibility for that class. Most of that work is on your own. It's online so that we don't have to take away from, we have 3 periods dedicated towards construction. And we try to get to the point of being out in the shop as much as possible and stay out there really is the goal that I have, since that is what everyone's here for. However, all year long, you are getting a grade and we have assignments. We'll spend some time in the classroom working on plan reading, print reading. Estimating has become a focus of that as well. And with that, reading material list and those kind of things and doing takeoffs. For the second semester, after you're done with core, we really get into the wood construction. If you can see the bottom of the slide, it's telling you that it's now turned into residential construction projects that are a little bit bigger, medium projects, if you will, along with the shed building and things of that size where we focus on all those residential framing and skills, the roofing, you name it, we're starting to deal with at the end of the first year. Next slide, please. So then in our senior year, our first semester is remodeling and renovation. And that's it allows us to get into all of the trades. A little bit of plumbing, a little bit of electrical, quite a bit of concrete, masonry, flooring. When I say flooring, hardwood flooring, ceramic for floors and even walls, floating flooring, you name it, we're trying to do. Welding. We just, in a typical year, would get into stick and that's it, along with, but not into any kind of MIG or TIG. That is obviously with Mr. Austin, focusing more on the welding, but we do let kids see it. We also, our second year, the entire year long, we have a capstone class. Basically at any time you are taking 2 classes with me, or it's kind of all rolled together, but it's 2 grades that you're getting, if you will. So we spend a lot of time on interview, communications, resume writing, getting ready for the second semester, which is an internship time, JSI, as Mr. Austin called it. And then so it's our job shadowing, our internship. Paid work related to construction is going to be part of that for people, whether it's because your family or a grandfather or somebody has work and are in the field and they can hire you, or it's volunteer work. We do a lot of work with Habitat for Humanity, so we have a lot of volunteers there. And anything else that fits the right candidate for their purpose, and that's the main reason for it, as it's saying, so that you can focus, or the student can focus on what interests them. We've touched on plumbing, we've touched on electrical, we've touched on concrete. all of those different trades. So it's an opportunity, hopefully, if you put the effort in, starting maybe even your junior year looking, but you find something that interests you, electrical, plumbing. You only got a little bit of time with me to talk about or to learn about those. We do hands-on projects related to those, but you're not going to get to spend a lot of time on it. So if that's what's interests you, then see if you can find something there. Some are more interested in just getting a paying position, and that's fine. You want to work at Lowe's, you're 18, and that's what you want to do in the afternoons instead of coming to my class, that would be acceptable and something that's in line with the needs or the want of somebody. Okay, next slide. We have become focused. Mr. Austin refers to the NCCER, and that's the program that they're using. Career Connections is something that we use, and we use material from all I got 7 books there, believe it or not. As a junior, that core and Woods class is going to completely get into that project book 1, as they refer to it. It's not just projects in there. It's not just pictures. There's actual chapters on safety, chapters on equipment that completely go along with what we're doing. The Math for the Trades has a lot of math that we use specifically for construction. Everybody's favorite in my class tends to be, that we get in the Pythagorean theorem or something like that because of roofing and that kind of stuff. And then, so we're delving into the math along those lines. We don't cosine and all that like Mr. Austin, but we do have math that everybody needs to. And tape measure, of course, reading is a daily skill that you need to use. This is another here, but it's showing we're now to use, instead of all those books being something that I have to hand out to the students when the time is right, we now have everything online. And Career Connections, again, is the name of the Carpenter's resource, and they have that online for us. So I can give you the e-textbook, if you will. We can assign chapter reviews or quizzes or whatever the case may be directly from the website. And it's another step in line with other things we're doing. So online, we do our OSHA 10, we do Career Connections, and we have some other resources along with our learning management system of the Schoology that tie in with that. Thank you. So in these 2 years with me, the goal is not only to learn safe and proper use of equipment and tools, learning framing, like I said, roofing, and all those other aspects of construction and other trades. We are using the Carpenters Union's books, which are divided into 3 levels. For most students, they will get completely through 1 and 2, which there is a certificate with that from the Carpenters Union. If we get through all 3, you're at a spot where that you join their apprenticeship program. There are some savings on time. Instead of it being a complete 4 years, you could be at a spot where it's only 3.5 years. OSHA 10, again, is a certification that just about everyone, not just the union trades, but more and more companies out there for insurance reasons and stuff want to have that OSHA 10 for their employees. And because it's cost savings to them, it shows that they're encouraging safety. And so we are I'm having our students obtain that certification at the high school level. Starting this year, as we add things, we have forklift and man lift physically in our shop now, and certification is a part of what we're doing for the students. So when you walk out of here, most students, are going to have these certifications, including the forklift, man lift. They're going to have experience. We put shelving up in the shop to the warehouse spot, and then we've also outside so that I can have you learning how to not only pick just a pallet up, but you can put things on a racking system be it at a, think of Lowe's or any other place that has a warehouse, whether it's construction related or not, a skill set that anybody from here can take and use. CPR first aid, AED, is a certification that we're also getting our students. And again, it just is another check on a resume. It's another making sure that first aid or safety is the first priority for all of our students, and that and it goes along completely with what we're trying to do there. Thank you. All of this, yes, we have things that we can do and are trying to do for certain students that are interested in a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. University of Toledo, BG, Ohio Northern, a smaller one. Further away schools have construction management, construction, engineering technology that they offer in our degrees. We have C-tags and other things that are related to those. Our plan reading gives you credit. And so one avenue is college for some students. Another that many of the students, I really try to get them to either consider or hope that they're already thinking about, is the trades that are in town. If you're interested in learning more about them, the iBuild, the 419 is a great resource. But we spend time with these trades. In the next slide. A couple of things there. I think I'm missing one, but go ahead and keep going. I thought I put another one in. Let me see. We go to the different trades. I thought I put another one in, but if you go to iBuild the 419, you will see all of the trades broken down by the different unions and apprenticeship programs. Here we go. Just put them in different order. But, and we go on a normal year when things are not closed down, we will, again, go to and see the Boilermakers, the bricklayers, carpenters, all of these listed here, especially carpenters are a huge one with us. Obviously, I'm using their books and stuff, but all of these, we have built relationships, and we're taking the students to go see their apprenticeship programs, not just their trade halls, but meet the individuals that have been through them, understand the experience, understand the training that they offer. So when you're done, you can go on to another apprenticeship program, spend 3-4 years, and not only get that journeyman license that we're getting you ready to go into, but then with that, most of them have college credit in their programs. So when you're done there as well, you're not only at the pay level, but you have part of your associate's degree completely finished. And again, it covers a wide range of things. Glazers, those that put in glass walls and doors, iron workers, the local laborers, operating engineers, which are our large equipment. We go down to their facility every year, if you saw on our slides, and we get to use their backhoe, their fork, or their pieces of equipment. They allow us to spend the day operating and give students an opportunity on stuff that we don't have necessarily available to them. And we will go to just about all of these training centers. Some of them are at the same place, so it makes it easy, but we go to just about all of them, and we spend time learning what they do and making that not only understanding what they do, then we bring it back here, and we're doing our residential wiring and those kind of things that tie it all together for the students to have a good learning experience. Okay. And the last is just a video, instead of me giving a quick tour of the shop, that I'll finish on. If we can get to play. Oh, we didn't play it. Maybe. Thank you, Mr. Smith. And that concludes the construction part of the evening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Roach. Did anyone have any questions for Mr. Roach about the construction program? I do want to emphasize that Mr. Roach, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, does have a bus and license to drive it, as does Mr. Smith, which means that that gives the ability for students in the program to go out quite often, a lot more often than their peers, to job sites, not only to tour, but to work. So actual workplace experience. And the emphasis in the second semester on internships and work-based learning is really one about employability, working with clients, customers, supervisors. So students get experience in a wide range of those sorts of areas, increasing employability. Thank you, Mr. Roach. Appreciate your time. We'll turn things over to Mr. Smith with Horticulture.
Awesome. Thanks, Mr. Clarkson, and thank you all. Mr. Roach, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah. So they're crown lift pieces of equipment, and as you saw, and the certification is through them. And so, yes, it is a recognized industry credential that you could use. Yes, if you're not, if you're looking to go somewhere else, you could use it there. They may want to still have you test off if you were to go to Lowe's or something, but they're going to recognize that you have experience and you've been certified. So yes, it would be recognized by many individuals. Thank you.
Awesome. I want to thank everyone for continuing to stay on and use your time for us tonight. And I just want to quickly go through a little introduction about myself and my program that I'm really passionate about. I was a graduate of the program that I'm actually teaching. I was a 2008 graduate, and everything from all the sales to the FFA leadership we continue to do because it's a great experience for the students, but also for the alumni that continue to come back for us. I do have a degree in landscape and turfgrass management, and I have 10 years working in industry. I spent 8 years at Sylvania Recreation. I also spent 2 years with the Toledo Mud Hens, getting the professional aspect of groundskeeping, and then also more of the natural wildlife with the Toledo Metro Parks. This is my 5th year teaching in Sylvania and as the horticulture instructor. So our feeder courses, you have 2 options. Both are open to 9th and 12th graders. But if you were to follow a traditional pathway, a 9th grade student would take the Horticulture Foundations course, which is comprised of very, very broad subjects. So we don't really dive into a typical subject. We do more of getting your feet wet in agriculture, which consists of food science, the animal science portion of it. We do power technology, looking at different pieces of equipment, and then also the plant science. The second class, typically sophomores that take it or continue through the pathway, is called Horticulture Plant Science. Now we're getting into some specifics, which would be more of the plant physiology, the anatomy of plants, how to grow, looking at nutritional disorders, diseases, how to manage soil, and overall the management of plants that many of our community members come in and purchase for our fundraiser. Our students are creating those. And as a 10th grader, they learn the business side of the plant science to go along with the, the academic side of the classroom. So juniors, now we're in the career tech pathway. There are 2 courses. Both are semester-long courses. So their first semester in fall, they would take Parks and Recreation. Parks and Recreation, they're getting on pieces of equipment used in the park setting. We use Pacesetter Park a lot for their equipment. Our students go out there, they get on skid steers, tractors, walk-behind mowers, walk-behind fertilizer spreaders. Right now we're doing a park project where students are learning how to make schedules, how to make budgets, how to design 3D models of their park, so students can do dog parks, do baseball fields, whatever they want to do that they want to pursue in the future they're looking at. We're learning how to manage those, from employees to the facilities. Greenhouse management, I'm really proud of this. We have over 2,500 square foot of greenhouse space that we do 3,000 hanging baskets and over 500 patio planters each year that our students create. It's a very long process from January to March. And a lot of people think, oh, plants just happen in May. You know, they grow in 1 month. We are doing that process right now. We're getting our hanging baskets filled with soil. Unfortunately, with COVID, hopefully we get in the back in January and we're able to continue that. But in greenhouse management, we go and travel to a wholesale greenhouse operation, and they show us, and we work right alongside of the owners and work inside of a greenhouse. Their senior courses, their fall semester is landscape systems management. And like Mr. Austin mentioned before, we do a little CAD system as well. We purchased a landscape design where you can actually take a picture on your phone, implement that into the CAD program, and then drag plants into the landscape to make basically a picture for the customer. So customers that reach out to us that want to get their landscapes redone, we go out, we estimate, and we take pictures of their areas that they want to redo. We come back and put it in our CAD system and then reproduce all that for the customer. We learn proper planting techniques. So we look at annuals, perennials, deciduous trees. We look at shrubs. All of that is part of that landscape class. And not to mention, the greenhouse class that I teach is aligned with a CCP course, which is College Credit Plus. And again, walking away with 3 credits. It's aligned with Owens Community College, which is they'll have a transcript from Owens and be able to transfer that to any college that they wish. And then the business management side of it, they're looking at business plans, marketing plans, looking at the ethics and professionalism. They do resume building, cover letters, because just like Mr. Austin and Mr. Roach, my students go out on internships as well. We need these students to get hands-on work-based learning, and their full semester in the spring, they will be out making money on a job. So if you were to follow the pathway, I've already described this. You would, as a 9th grader, take horticulture foundations. Your sophomore year, you would take plant and horticulture science, and then you would enter as a junior and then as a senior. But again, these 2 feeder classes are 9 through 12 grade electives. So here's some of the hands-on learning projects. We get asked by the district to do logos on our football field each year. We also did logos on our soccer field to raise awareness of breast cancer. We do bricklaying and drainage up in the top left. We do fresh cut flowers. We do landscape, like I said, learning the safety operation of chainsaws and different tools to work in the landscape beds. We get a lot of use of our facilities around here. We have a lot of great resources, and the district allows us to get on the fields and use a lot of equipment. All the students are members of FFA as they join, and a lot of people think FFA stands for Future Farmers of America. That does not stand for that anymore. It actually changed in 1989. So really this acronym doesn't mean much, but to the alumni and to the students, it really does mean a lot. I just want to outline this top bullet. FFA is the largest of the career and technical student organizations in the U.S. schools. There are over 669,000 students enrolled in all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. It's a very, very large organization. And this is a picture of my students. We placed first in landscape in the state in 2017. And we also placed first in the state of Ohio in floriculture. We go to a lot of competitions, and then we represented the state of Ohio at national convention. So my students were able to participate in a national competition and face the other 49 states that were there. So just like the other 2 instructors we're talking about, we do have industry credentials in the feeder courses for those electives. We will go over cyber safety, and that's more of a certificate that you can obtain. And then my juniors get the OSHA 10, and then for next year, I'm going to get the OSHA 30 credential. And then there's also a leadership excellence credential that students can obtain. And then I always do with my seniors employability, which they'll receive a certificate that they've gone through courses that describe how to have positive relationships with customers. So just looking at different careers, I know a lot of people think horticulture, oh, it's just farming, oh, it's just plants. On the screen, I'm not going to go through them all, but there are a lot of opportunities in this field, and we explore all of them. So we had some questions about veterinarian science. We don't really dive into vet tech stuff, but I have connections and the internship with local vets here if you're interested in that. But a lot of this people don't think about when they think about horticulture or agriculture. They just think about the plant side of things and the farming opportunities. So just looking at the alumni that might be that you might know of or that you might have heard of. But I have a lot of students that go into the military because this is a pretty disciplined class with employability skills, getting on time, ensuring that positive connections and learning about customer service. The owners of Kriege's Greenhouse, he is an alumni of this FFA. The owners of Evergreen Landscape, the owners of Cleanwood Recycling, they are alumni of Sylvania. I have a entrepreneur greenhouse owner. She graduated and she is up in Michigan, very successful. I have students that are working at Lowe's. They've got jobs, they've getting skills, just like Mr. Roach said, on different equipment. And then the different universities that students are in right now. I've got students at Ohio State, 4 of them, looking at turf grass, business management, environmental science, and the veterinarian science routes. And then I have a student in Colorado State, and then Owens Community College for landscape and turf grass management. I know I went through that really quickly. I tried to not bore you with a lot of information, but if you do have any questions for me, I know Mr. Clarkson might have answered one for me. Feel free to go ahead and ask.
Yes, Ms. Todd, go for it. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question.
Sorry if you did this. I didn't know how to do it.
Sure.
I was just wondering, like, when they start to apply for the classes. Like, when do they turn that in? Or
that's an excellent question. Okay, so let me talk about the whole gamut. If we are talking about an 8th grade student, then
She just left, Mr. Clarkson. She just left the meeting.
Oh,
there she is.
There we go. So if we're talking about an 8th grade student coming into high school for the first time, counselors will be meeting with those 8th grade students in the next couple of weeks to go over the program of study, and then they'll be enrolling in or registering and making requests for classes in the new calendar year. That would be the time for those students coming into high school to check out some of those feeder courses that we talked about, the robotics course, the plant science course, those sorts of courses. And that's the same for freshmen that are going into their sophomore year. So what we call our rising freshmen and sophomores should be looking at those feeder courses as they look at enrolling in new courses over the next 2 months. For our rising juniors and seniors, the issue is a little bit different, especially for current sophomores. Current sophomores have the opportunity to apply to one of the 2-year programs. Now, seating is limited. And in most of our programs, we have seats for every student, but there are a few where we actually go to waiting lists. Every student has the opportunity to participate in a career tech program, but some of them do have those waiting lists. The most popular and some with the smallest number of seats are cosmetology, medical technology. I know Mr. Austin's engineering and fabrication has gone to a waiting list a couple of years in a row. So sometimes we go to waiting lists, but most of them don't. This involves an application process. So in order to get a seat, a student has to apply, and that application will be available when they enroll in classes. That means when they meet with their counselor, when they go over the course of study, and when they fill that out as sophomores. The counselors will share with them a code for an online application that they'll complete. That application is then processed, usually at the end of February, And at the end of February, we will tell students whether or not they are in that program. And like I said, the vast majority of students get their first choice for a career tech program. But we do ask that they put in a second and a third choice, and we give them options of being in another program if they don't get into their first choice. And probably the next reasonable question is, well, how do you determine who gets in? It's very difficult to come up with fair metrics to determine who would get into a program like this, because we want every kid in the program, but we sometimes only have so many seats. We can't teach everybody that might want to be in that program. So we use a few metrics to determine. We use attendance, discipline, and GPA. So students that have solid records in attendance, discipline, and GPA will have a higher rubric score, and then will be higher on the list for seating in one of those programs. And the application process gathers all of that data for us. So like I said, it's over the next couple of months. Those meetings with counselors will be crucial. And it's a great time to ask questions about that enrollment process and getting that application. Any other questions? That was great, Ms. Todd, thank you, because I did want to address a lot of those questions, not just about these 3 programs, but about programs in general and applying for them. Don't forget that rising freshmen and sophomores, that means current 8th and 9th graders, should really consider those feeder programs. It's a great time to take some of those different feeder classes, excuse me, and just kind of play around and see what you like. You can take a semester course, you can take a year-long course. Some excellent opportunities there to dabble in. The 2-year program is a pretty big commitment and a really valuable commitment to make. Very rich. But something else I'd like to mention about the 2-year programs. If you're involved in a 2-year program, the majority of your day is still spent at Southview or Northview, taking your traditional classes, completing the credits that you need to graduate. So for Mr. Smith's course or Mr. Austin's course, for instance, you would spend 2 periods a day in their labs for 2 years. For Mr. Roach's, it's actually a little bit bigger. It's 3 periods a day for 2 years. And that would be your 2-year program. So that's a bit of a commitment, and we would encourage everybody that's interested in one of these programs to apply. Let's see. Gannon, you ask, do you know how they will be meeting us with the current situation? Actually, I don't know the details, because generally the counselors at the high school work with their direct assistant principals in arranging that, and not with me. But I know that they've told me that they are starting to meet next week, and I would assume that means that they're having virtual presentations to start with 8th graders in December. So probably that means that you would join in a meet like this, and kind of like these teachers gave, there would be a presentation about courses of study and the different availabilities for the next year. And then the meetings will be one-on-one in January when you go over your actual course list, what you would like to have. So it's kind of like a preview presentation in December, and then the follow-up more individualized support in January to make sure that you get your courses in the system and you're scheduled for next year. So Gannon, just make sure that you're getting information. If you're not sure about that, reach out to your counselor at your current junior high and ask the question. You should be told what's going on. Any further questions about that or anything connected to these gentlemen's programs? All right.
We got one more question, Mr. Clarkson.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Mr. Smith, do you think you could close down your presentation so I could see everybody? And then that way I could see if you, yep, there we go. Do we have a hand? I can't see who has a question. So if somebody has a question, they'd like to.
It's in the chat.
Oh. Oh, there we go. Will those meetings include the parents or just the students like they have in the past? So far as I understand, they are still just including the parents. I don't believe they have changed their approach when it comes to the scheduling process. But again, just reaching out to a counselor to ask that question can probably fill you in. I apologize that I don't have that answer. I kind of have a 1,000-foot view of that process and don't know those specific details right now. Any further questions? Feel free to raise your hand or throw something in the chat, or at this point, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I think you can tell from the presentations from these three fine gentlemen that we're all very passionate about career tech and the opportunities that they provide for students, and would love all of you students and all of you parents to encourage your children to become involved in some way, through feeders, through a full 2-year program, all of the above, what have you. You won't regret the experience. Thank you again very much, and be safe out there.